If you're a company working with data from the energy sector, you've likely accessed the Market Operators page to download files on the offers made by agents. In this tutorial, I'll explain how to execute this process of automatically downloading files every day at a specific time automatically. I'm going to show you the example now, and then I'll walk you through the process step by step. In the task scheduler, we have a task that runs every day at 2:05 p.m. I'm going to execute it now to show you the proof. See how the terminal launches to download some files automatically. Tomorrow's price is here. You see we already have the data pre-processed with the automation I'll explain later in Python, and later I'll even make a graph that gets exported automatically. If you want to learn how, stay tuned. The first thing we do is go to the file access. We take the daily market as an example. And today is the 29th, but we already have the prices for the 30th. So we apply and download the file save. Next, we can visualize it in this application where we see the file isn't clean. They appear there in a format that would be hard to read in Excel. I'll explain how to pre-process and clean these data to export an Excel file and work with them comfortably. The first step is to copy the URL, and here in the Python code in a notebook. If you don't know what that is, I recommend you check out the comments for some tutorials to explain how to work with this type of program. What I do is have here the URL I just copied. We see that the pattern is the date. If I wanted to automate it for every day, I'm going to use Python code to get the date it runs each day. However, instead of today's date, I should add tomorrow's date. Using the time delta property, I can add one day and get the date for tomorrow. What do we do with this variable? We create an F string so I can indicate the date in braces, and thus we already get the date substituted for tomorrow. Next, we'll use this variable with the get function in the requests library to obtain all that information in the Python code. With the content, we see the data inside, and with the open function, we write the file, which we'll see in the data folder. And we have precisely the file we saw downloading manually with the mouse now through Python code, but we need to process it. So the first thing I do is with the pandas library, read that file that's separated by semicolons. Here we already have the table. And to clean it, we're going to use these lines of code to indicate the column names, remove missing values, convert it to a date format, and finally we get it this way. Next, we'll make a graph, which we'll save in the src folder with the date's name. And finally, we're going to export the data to an Excel file in the data folder. We execute, and here we have the file in Excel format, which if we look at it, is much cleaner than how we had it at the beginning. Now, if I don't want to open this code file and want to execute it automatically every day, I would need to create a Python executable. For this, we create here a file with a name, and very important that we call it pp. The content of this code will be all the lines we have previously by pressing Shift up. We're going to select all the cells. And finally, Control-C to paste them here. We could make the code cleaner, but that's not the objective of this tutorial. Now what we're going to do is save with Control-S. And now we're going to execute it in the code. We go all the way down. The first thing I have to do is locate the Python executable, which in this case will match what I have here in work, which is in the same environment. I'm going to copy it and would have to use it right here for it to be executable. I pass the file I'm working on now to demonstrate the example. I can give here copy path and in quotes, we're going to paste it. Next, I'm going to delete the files so you can see how the process will execute automatically. We press play and here we sit to see how the data are downloaded and the image generated in these two folders. We have the first one, we have the Excel, and the image, all automatically. But now we want to go a step further and execute it every day at 2:05 p.m. How are we going to do it? We open the task scheduler. We create a new task. We're going to name it to have it at the top and call it OMIE daily. In the trigger for execution, we'll tell it to run daily at 2:05 p.m. We click OK. Now we tell it what it needs to execute in the actions, and it asks us for the script and the arguments. In this case, the script is the Python X we just copied. We place it here in double quotes, and in the arguments, we have to pass the code file I want to execute. Similarly, we put it in double quotes. And very important, to ensure the files we download are saved in the same folders, we start in the same folder where we are. Therefore, I'm going to copy the path by applying it here outside of the folder and pass it. Be careful, sometimes it copies the file. We have to remove it and tell it we want it in the folder where it is located, which is scripts. Therefore, we click OK here as well. And that's it. Finally, we can test this task. We apply to it and tell it that even though it's not 2:05, we want to test it. We click Execute, and for the test, we're going to delete the files we have here already executed. We click Run and observe how the files are downloaded. There might be errors. We can see it here in the history. Wait a bit. And here we notice that there was a launch error. We can go back to the properties. Here, in the actions, we probably have to edit the command where it executes the folder by removing the quotes only in this case. In the rest, we should leave them. We click OK, here too. We select the task, execute, and now it seems to be running. Let's see how the files appear here on the left. We have the first one, the second, and here the image. I hope this tutorial has been useful for you to learn how to automate processes with Python code. Let me know in the comments what you think, as well as suggestions for other new tutorials that I will create to help you learn how to automate other processes you do in your day-to-day. Greetings, and take care.